Yes, great. And you?
I'm doing outstanding, You know, there was a question. One of the listeners on the YouTube channel stated that how do you help people that are overtaken with this mindset of the coronavirus?
Well, actually, look, we've talked about this before. We're living in a virtual reality, not reality, as reality is changeless, and everything here, and I mean everything, goes away. So this isn't reality, but you can play in it to your heart's fulfillment because you're given choose this day. Now, if God told you to choose this day, wouldn't you seem to take that serious? I mean, coming from God. I mean, if I was telling you, you'd say, yeah, so. But this is right out of Scripture. You're told as you think you are. You think the way they're drilling you to think right now, and you can succumb to anything you're listening to. Remember, the whole vast world is only the self pushed out. But that's you talking to you. That's you suggesting to you what you're hearing from your environment. You don't have to listen to the environment. Get a pair of earplugs.
And I actually answered her question along those lines, and what I told her is that you really can't control what other people think, but what you can be is the example.
That's it. It's that simple. You are an example to anyone you're in presence with. You're being an example. Every time you speak to another human being, you either help him or help drive him crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was a quote from S.I. Hayakawa, the senator. But I mean, that's really right on. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't find it in Scripture. Looking said just exactly that way. That every time you speak to another human being, you either help them or you help drive them crazy. Really. I mean...
It's actually... Go ahead, please, but I definitely want to add something to that.
Oh, good.
You actually bring about a good point. Now, you've said this probably 20, 25 times in our speaking, help them or drive them crazy. And when I think about the conversations that I had with a young lady about this coronavirus, that's it. I mean, most people, when you begin to tell them that this is virtual reality, they're going to see you as insane.
I know.
Matter of fact, when you say that you either help them or drive them crazy, if you're trying to help somebody by telling them, for example, that the coronavirus is something from mass media and it's something that media is pumping into the environment by way of communication, most people are not going to be able to hear that. So since they can't hear it, you're driving them crazy. Now, for the few that will hear it, those are the ones that you're going to help. But I guarantee it's going to be very few.
Hey, that was nice the way you put that. Yeah, really. That's exactly what it is. Look, the people who are looking to know first person, those people will hear it. No matter how I give it, or
Absolutely,
it doesn't matter. They'll hear it because that's what they're looking for. And here's the nice part about that. If you know what you're looking for, know that it's looking for you. That's really right where you are at the moment. You're thinking feelingly, and thinking feelingly is creative. I don't care if you're totally wiped out, angry or whatever. That's creative. Just as creative as you kneeling down in church and praying.
Absolutely.
Because it's every word must be taken into culmination to make up your world. And it does. And it is. And that's all we're trying to get you to look at, is just look at what you're talking to yourself about morning, noon, and night. Generally, anyway. I know you're not paying attention all the time. I'm aware of that. But the fact is that more is better. More aware is better. So just you want to invest in yourself, there's a chance to invest really big because the payoff is really wonderful. Its benefits beyond your imagination. But that's it. Imagining creates the real in this drama, man. So if you're going to sit and imagine something, why not make it lovely and of good report? Choice that you can sit and think of gloom and doom if you want. But all you're doing is just creating more gloom and doom. But if you're thinking positive, if you're thinking lovely and of good report, I know things are going on around you that would distract you and disturb you and upset you, but that's the idea, is to go into silence. Go into silence. Close the door. And speak to your Father which is in heaven. He's there. Because he said if you show up, he's already there. He'll be there when you are there. Because there's only one power. That's it. You're turning that uses power. That uses thought. And thought are what your whole world is made up of. But they're out of the mind of man because we were given choose this day. And as a matter of fact, as Neville had put it, that's not a request that you choose this day. You're doing so aware or unaware. All we're suggesting is better, more aware.
And saying that, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to give an example. In Georgia, we have to do what we call emissions. So if you got a car that's less than 25 years old, whatever, you're required to do an emissions each year. My car still falls in that range of doing emissions. Now, one of the things that's happened recently was I had this check engine light and this other light on my car. Normally with those lights, you're normally not going to pass emissions. But the last time those lights came on in my car, it came up to the tune of about $3,500. What I did know was I didn't want to spend another $3,500 on my car. Matter of fact, I was thinking about selling the car as opposed to spending another $3,500. And I changed my mindset. I began seeing my dashboard as clear. One of the other things that I did once I started seeing it, I went on YouTube. You and I have talked about YouTube. I went on YouTube to see if anybody had a means of clearing that check engine light. Now, I've tried it in the past, and like I said, to no avail. But this time, I began to see the dashboard on my car as clear, all lights out, and I drove with that in mind for several weeks. Now, one of the things I did was I kind of cleaned around my gas cap. I sprayed some WD. It didn't clear it. But I continued to see the dashboard as clear. Now, I knew that I didn't know how it was going to get cleared. That was not my business. And if it even meant taking it to the Lexus dealership to get it cleared, I was going to do that. But I still saw it as a discounted rate. I did not see it at the $3,500, but I saw the dashboard as clear. One day I was driving, and I just happened to notice that the dashboard was clear. At that point, I went and did my emissions, passed, 100%, and everything's fine. You have to see what it is that you're trying to manifest as already being your reality. You can't see it out there, because as long as we see it out there, it's going to remain out there. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I do agree. But you know what? People do those sort of things every day. Don't give themselves credit for it, and
Absolutely.
so therefore they don't recognize it.
Absolutely.
Even recognize it when they're doing what they're supposed to do. And you know something? I found that you actually are experiencing what you're looking for long before you're recognizing that you're doing it. Sounds like a thief in the night, It's always detailed. You see, as you think you are. I know that's repeated many times, but unless you remember it, the rest of it isn't going to mean much.
That's true.
Isn't it? Really? I mean, come on. You got what you're focused on is focused on you. See, because you're setting the focus. You're setting mine is lazy. It really is. It really doesn't even like change. So it actually will kind of just reject what you're planning in the beginning. But if you keep insisting it that it's so, as you did with your dashboard, insistence, you see, it tells you, thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be so. And that's what you were doing. You were decreeing it to be so. It wasn't looking so. You looked at it, and it's still there, but you're decreeing that it is gone. It was gone. So that's what people do. They decree things. But the point is, are you aware of what it is you're decreeing? Remember, it says thinking feelingly. You see, and Neville's book was, like I told you before, that was one of the really that really did it for me. That Feeling is the Secret, by Neville Goddard, and he spells it out for you. I mean, yeah, as dense as I was at the time, it spelled it out for me. So I figured, well, it must be able to spell it out for everybody.
Yeah. It's a great book. I have a copy of it actually in audio as well as a physical copy, and I listen to it often because it's like, and some people are going to take this the wrong way, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's like reading the Bible. Every time I read through the scriptures, it's a new experience. The same thing when I listen to Neville's material. It's a new experience for me every time I listen. It's almost like listening to it for the first time because there's so much depth in it.
Yes, that's it. That's it. In other words, you heard it in his voice.
Mm-hmm.
See, that was it. You don't hear it in many people's voice when they're speaking of it. It sounds, I don't know, what would you say, like a reading a script.
Exactly.
So the thing of it is that he just spilled it out to you, and then he tells you, really think about it. I mean, well, I actually began to think from it, but if you think about it long enough, you'll start thinking from it, and that's what we want to accomplish, you thinking from, because that's prayer answered, you see, and you're agreeing with prayer answered. You may not have any physical evidence at the moment to show somebody else, but you know that you know what you did and what you're expecting. And that's always what you get, what you expect, not necessarily what you want, unless it happens to be the same thing.
Certainly.
So it's always up to you. Go into silence. When you're told to go into silence, I mean, separate yourself from the world for a moment. I mean, it'll still be there when you get out. It just, as long as, I'd say, take a half an hour, but that takes quite a while to be patient with yourself to actually sit that long and not really think of anything, but just receive. Just listen to receive. Because, it's right with you. So you don't have to really go anywhere. Just be alone. Just be quiet. Because there's magic. That's in the silence. You'll see the magic. You'll hear the magic. You'll feel the magic if you'll just be still. And believe me, I do know what I'm asking when I say just be still, because that was my number one hurdle to get over. And because I had that hurdle, it was a block. Couldn't make it over it for quite a long time, because being double-mindedness and lazy-mindedness, as I said, something that I suffered quite a bit. But the point is, if you don't give up, if you don't stop, you make it.